Imagine an entire civilization, one of the most brilliant the world has ever seen, suddenly going quiet. Cities that once housed hundreds of thousands of people, abandoned, towering temples swallowed by jungle, a sophisticated written language silenced, calendars more accurate than those used in medieval Europe forgotten. This is not the plot of a science fiction novel. This is the true story of the Maya, and for over 1,000 years, the world had almost no idea they ever existed. So what happened? How does a civilization that charted the stars, built skyscraping pyramids, and ran thriving trade networks across an entire continent simply vanish? That question has haunted archaeologists, historians, and explorers for generations. And the answer, when you finally piece it together, is more complex, more human, and frankly more terrifying than most people expect. Let's go back to the beginning. The Maya were not a single empire ruled by one king. They were a collection of independent city-states, each with its own ruler, its own culture, its own rivalries. More like ancient Greece than ancient Rome. Their story begins as early as 2000 BCE in the lowland jungles of what is now southern Mexico, Guatemala, Belize, Honduras, and El Salvador. For centuries, they were a modest farming society, but somewhere around 1000 BCE, something changed. Their villages began to grow. Their religious and political structures became more complex, and by around 250 CE, they had entered what historians call the Classic Period, arguably one of the most remarkable eras in human history. The Maya developed one of the only fully developed writing systems in the ancient Americas. Their script, called hieroglyphics, though entirely different from Egypt's, allowed them to record history, mythology, astronomical observations, and royal genealogies on stone monuments, pottery, and books made from bark paper. They called these books codices, and though most were destroyed during the Spanish conquest, a handful survived, giving modern researchers precious windows into the Maya world. They developed a sophisticated number system that included the concept of zero. Centuries before it appeared in Europe, they tracked multiple calendar cycles simultaneously with astonishing precision. And their art, the murals, the jade carvings, the intricate stonework, reveals a people deeply invested in beauty, spirituality, and the cosmos. Between roughly 250 CE and 900 CE, the Maya built some of the most remarkable cities ever constructed without metal tools, the wheel, or draft animals. Tikal in present-day Guatemala was a metropolis of perhaps 100,000 people at its peak. Its pyramids rose above the jungle canopy like stone fingers reaching toward the sky. Palenque, nestled in the foothills of Chiapas, Mexico, was an architectural masterpiece. Its temples adorned with elaborate stucco reliefs and filled with royal tombs. Copan in Honduras was the intellectual capital of the Maya world, home to a series of rulers so obsessed with astronomy that they commissioned massive stone altars to record their celestial observations for eternity. The Maya were master engineers. They built massive reservoirs and irrigation systems to manage water across the dry season. They practiced sophisticated raised field agriculture in swampy lowlands. Their roads, called sakbib or white roads, connected cities across hundreds of miles of jungle. And their astronomical knowledge was extraordinary. The Maya could predict solar eclipse, track the movements of Venus with remarkable accuracy, and calculate dates millions of years into the future. Their long count calendar, the one that briefly sparked a global panic in 2012, based on a misunderstanding, was a feat of mathematical engineering that still impresses scientists today. This was, by any measure, a civilization at the height of human achievement. So why did it collapse? Beginning around 800 CE, something started to go terribly wrong. One by one, the great cities of the southern Maya lowlands began to fall silent. The carving of new stone monuments, a practice that had continued unbroken for centuries, suddenly stopped. In city after city, construction ceased mid-project. Royal courts dissolved, populations plummeted, and within a period of roughly 100 years, many of the most powerful cities in the Maya world had been completely abandoned. By 900 CE, the population of the southern lowlands had declined by an estimated 90%. Tikal, once a capital of power and culture, was empty. Its plazas filled with fallen trees, its temples crumbled slowly back into the earth. The jungle, which the Maya had spent centuries pushing back, quietly reclaimed what had once been theirs. Historians call this event the classic Maya collapse, and for a long time no one could explain it. Over the decades, researchers have proposed dozens of explanations. Some are dramatic, some are controversial, and some turn out to be surprisingly relevant to the world we live in today. The first major theory is drought. Evidence from lake sediment cores and cave formations, called speleothems, suggests that the Maya lowlands experienced a series of severe, prolonged droughts between 800 and 1000 CE. In a region where the entire agricultural system depended on predictable rainfall, even a few consecutive dry years could have been catastrophic, and the data suggests the droughts were not a few years, they may have lasted for decades. The second theory is warfare. Across the Maya world, there is abundant archaeological evidence of intensifying conflict during the terminal classic period. City-states that had once maintained uneasy but functional relationships began attacking each other with increasing ferocity. Trade networks broke down, alliance systems collapsed, and the constant drain of resources and manpower on military campaigns may have pushed already stressed societies past their breaking point. The third theory is environmental degradation. The Maya, for all their brilliance, were not immune to the consequences of unsustainable land use. Analysis of pollen records and soil samples shows widespread deforestation across the lowlands. With no tree cover to hold the topsoil in place, erosion accelerated. Agricultural yields dropped, and as the land itself became less productive, feeding large urban populations became increasingly impossible. The fourth theory is political instability. As resources grew scarce and external pressures mounted, the elaborate systems of governance that held Maya city-states together began to fracture. Rulers lost legitimacy. Elites competed for power rather than cooperating to solve collective problems. Popular revolts may have swept away ruling dynasties. In at least some cities, evidence suggests that temples and royal monuments were deliberately defaced, a sign of deeply fractured social order. The fifth theory is overpopulation. During the classic period peak, the Maya lowlands may have been home to more people than the environment could sustainably support. Forest clearance, intensive agriculture, and the constant construction demands of growing cities had pushed the ecological system to its limits. There was simply no buffer left when things began to go wrong. Here is the answer that modern research increasingly supports: all of the above. The classic Maya collapse was not a single event caused by a single factor. It was a cascading systems failure, a perfect storm of drought, warfare, deforestation, political breakdown, and overpopulation that reinforced and accelerated each other in a devastating feedback loop. Think of it this way: a prolonged drought reduces crop yields. Reduced crop yields create food shortages. Food shortages cause social unrest and political instability. Political instability leads to warfare. Warfare disrupts trade and agriculture further. Deforestation means there is no environmental resilience to buffer any of these shocks. And one by one, the pillars holding the civilization upright begin to give way. Sophisticated climate modeling combined with high-resolution archaeological surveys using a technology called LiDAR, which can map hidden ruins beneath the jungle canopy from aircraft, has transformed our understanding of just how densely populated and intensively managed the Maya landscape really was, and it has made the fragility of that system all the more apparent. It is worth pausing here and noting something uncomfortable. The story of the Maya collapse is not just ancient history. The combination of climate stress, resource depletion, political dysfunction, and social inequality that brought down one of history's greatest civilizations is a combination that modern societies are not entirely unfamiliar with. But here is something that often gets lost in all the drama of the collapse. The Maya did not disappear. The civilization collapsed. The cities were abandoned. The classic era political order crumbled. But the people survived. They adapted. They migrated. And today, more than 7 million people of Maya descent live across Mexico, Guatemala, Belize, Honduras, and El Salvador. They speak more than 30 distinct Mayan languages. Many maintain cultural traditions, agricultural practices, and spiritual beliefs with roots stretching back thousands of years. Even after the classic collapse, Maya civilization continued in different forms. The northern lowland cities, places like Chichen Itza and Uxmal, flourished for centuries after the southern cities fell. And the post-classic Maya city of Mayapan remained a regional power until the 15th century, just decades before the Spanish arrived. When the Spanish conquistadors came in the 16th century, they did not find an empty jungle. They found Maya communities who resisted fiercely for decades. The last independent Maya kingdom, Nopeten in present-day Guatemala, did not fall until 1697, nearly 2 centuries after Hernán Cortés first set foot in Mexico. The Maya were never gone. They were only waiting to be remembered. The story of the Maya is one of the most extraordinary in human history, and one of the most instructive. Here was a civilization of breathtaking sophistication. A people who mapped the heavens, built cities in the jungle, and recorded their history in a script that took modern scholars the better part of a century to decode. A people who understood that time was not a straight line, but a great turning wheel, and who built their entire world around the idea that the past could illuminate the future. They were right about that. Their collapse, when it came, wasn't a mystery. It was a consequence of choices made across generations, of systems pushed past their limits, of a failure to adapt quickly enough when the world changed around them. But their legacy is not one of failure. It is one of resilience. The descendants of the Maya are still here, still speaking their languages, still farming their land, still practicing their traditions. The jungle may have swallowed the pyramids, but it could not swallow the people. And for those of us who study their story, who fly drones over the jungle and watch hidden cities materialize on screens, who decode ancient glyphs carved by hands 1,000 years gone, the Maya are not a cautionary tale. They are a reminder of what human beings are capable of building, and of what we stand to lose if we are not careful. Their story is not over. It never really ended. It just changed form, the way all great civilizations do, and it is still being written today.